ਸਾਡੀ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਏਜੰਸੀ 360 ਆਵਰਸ ਤੇ ਜੌਬ ਰੈਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੱਭਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰਨ।
ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਤੇ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਰ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ 360 ਆਵਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਜੌਬ ਰੈਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਦਿੱਕਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਾਫੀ ਡਿਸਪਿਊਟ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਣ ਲਈ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਇੱਕ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਜ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ।
ਹੁਣੇ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਅਨ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਨਵਾਂ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕੀਤਾ 491। ਸਾਡੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਟੇਟ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਪਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕਿ 12 ਮੰਥ ਦੀ ਕੰਟਰੈਕਟ ਜੌਬ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੱਭ ਕੇ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Hello everyone and welcome to McNabb Friends channel. We have Andrew McNabb with us, and most of you already know him because he is very active in community. He is doing really hard work for last so many years since I know him, and helping community. Not only one community, I can sincerely say that all multicultural communities know him very well because he is very helpful. But due to elections, there are few questions around, and I'm just going to introduce those questions direct to Andrew and see what answers Andrew can bring to us. So first of all, welcome Andrew, welcome on McNabb Friends channel.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be with you.
So elections are around, Andrew. So first of all, very best wishes from my whole team. And if we start rather than wasting our time, let's start with your first logo, which you have everywhere on your posters, on your Facebook account, that is CLEAN Cardinia. So if we just talk about CLEAN Cardinia, can you please tell us what CLEAN Cardinia means for you? Is it something that I just like Casey that the politicians are corrupt and you want to clean it, or something else?
No, Clean Up Cardinia stands for, the reason that we come up with this slogan is because a lot of people aren't happy with council, aren't happy with the services that they're getting. So we looked at the individual lines that we thought that people would be very interested in. One of them is cutting waste and red tape, keeping rates low and fair, giving ratepayers a voice again. I think that's very important because ratepayers really have been ignored. We want transparency with council expenses. We want transparency right across the board. We want to make bureaucrats accountable. Getting back to basics, what councils do is roads, rates and rubbish. That's where they should be concentrating their main objectives. We also want an independent audit into council finances and an independent audit into project delays and cost blowouts. Because over the years, a lot of money has come into this area, federal and state money, and it seems to take forever and a day to get these projects delivered. Well, when it takes you time, it's costing us money. So we're very keen to investigate that. And at the end of the day, this is public money. Everybody is accountable for public money and everybody is accountable for their actions. So I don't regret standing up and saying these things because it is time for scrutiny. It is time for accountability. And that's what we stand for. Nobody should be worried about anything if everything is correct. So I've always been very vocal. I think, as you know, Gargan, I've stood up and I'll stand up and fight for people's rights. And that's what I'm going to do in this election. Well, it's time for change. We've had a lot of these councils have been there for a long time. And look, thank them very much for their service. But now we have a real contest and it's going to be a real election. So I look forward to it because there's one thing I'm not afraid of, that is democracy, because the people do decide.
That's really great, Andrew. But one thing you mentioned that about the cleaning of the Cardinia, I can understand that a lot of people, they are actually throwing rubbish. So how you think the council is working in that, and what's responsibility council have to pay when people are not listening to the rules and not following to the rules?
Well, bureaucrats, I'll just go and tell you a story. The original reason I wanted to stand for council. Council were going to put an 80 poker machine venue here in office. There was an application. I went to council and spoke to them and they basically laughed at me. They said, there's nothing you can do. You're wasting your time and you can't even object. I was absolutely horrified. I said, what do you mean I can't even object? I'm a ratepayer that pays $3,000 for you to collect my rubbish. And the people should be able to have a say, at least object. They said, no, there's nothing you can do. That made me even more determined, because you never tell anybody there's nothing they can do. They should listen to people. Well, I set about then getting together the biggest community objection that was ever seen in Victoria. Then all of a sudden, the council started to take notice, and so did the councillors. And guess what? They ended up backing down and supporting the community. But at the end of the day, why do people have to go to those lengths? Why don't they listen to people? This is only one example, and that inspired me more than anything. And I've heard lots of examples where people have gone to council and they're completely dismissed. At the end of the day, the people elect the councillors. The councillors should stand up for the people. We should not be allowing the bureaucrats to run the system. And this is not only in this council, this is right across councils around Australia. Bureaucrats have too much say. Bureaucrats are there to serve us, and they should be listening to the people who elect the councillors. So that's one of my platforms, and that's why we're saying clean up Cardinia, give the ratepayers a voice again. They deserve to be heard.
So basically, directly or indirectly, you're saying that the council is not doing their work and you want to change that.
Absolutely. We want to challenge them in the respect that, well, we just don't want them to tick and flick and recommend that everything go through. As a councillor, if I think something is not right, I will stand up and I will speak out. The recommendation, if I think something is wrong, I'll listen to the people. I'll be balanced about the view and I'll decide on that. I'm not going to have bureaucrats tell me that this has to happen or go through. So I just feel a lot of councillors ride with the bureaucrats. It's a comfortable life to do that. Sorry, it's not in my nature. I will question people. I always have done. I've got nothing to gain out of it. I've copped a fair bit of flack and abuse, but look, that's what happens when you step into the public arena. But I'm not scared to speak up, and I will speak up, and I've never, ever backed down. If I think something is right, I will stand firm, and I will continue on that path.
There are few questions which I was checking social media and I checked there. So these are the questions I have actually collected from that. First of all, according to some of the people, they have mentioned that you have failed in your work, whatever you promised in the past that you will help the community, you have failed so far, and according to them, you will fail in the elections as well. What's your point of view in that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to know who those people are. I mean, it's funny how people say, oh, there's lots of people to say it. They never put their name to it. I'd like to know what I failed in. I stopped the poker machines. I got the traffic lights up here at the end of Station Street with the kids at school where that intersection wasn't signalled. So I've always stood up for something that is right. So please tell me, who are the people that are saying that I'm failed? You know what? I'm putting my hand up for council. I don't see these people out there who are running these fake Facebook accounts who are actually, some of them, I don't even read them because they're just not worth it. But I get feedback and I just laugh. And I think to myself, if people can't put their name to something, they don't have any credibility. I stand for what I believe in, and I've always put myself out there. I'm not ashamed to stand up. Maybe these people are ashamed to put their name to something. You know, it's great being a keyboard warrior, but hang on, stand up, ring me up, come and face me, man to man or man to woman or whatever. I'm more than happy to speak to you. But don't make accusations about me if you can't back them up.
That's really great answer, Andrew. And I just want to say that that's really, really great. If really people have questions, they can come directly to you and ask to you. Or you can send your questions, even though there are only a few days left, but we will try our best to ask those questions directly to Andrew and bring those answers directly to you. So that's great, Andrew. The other thing is, because you have already mentioned that you've already done some work in the past, especially with the lightings, and that's the example that you are actually working towards the election and you are actually working towards the community as well. That's really great. But then I think you mentioned that when you're working, you're looking towards the other councils as well, that what exactly the things do you need to do in your council. But if we talk about, if you, for example, if you win, do you actually work for your ward, or you want to work for your whole council or your whole area?
I'll be a strong voice right across council. I'm standing for the Beacon Hills ward. So if I'm honoured to be elected, that would be my ward. I would work strongly for those people. However, I'll be working for all the community. I would judge everything on merits, and I would certainly stand up for what is right. I mean, a lot of people are accusing me, oh, you're a Liberal, you're this, you're that. You know what? I've never hid the fact that I'm a member of the Liberal Party. I'm quite proud of that. I mean, it's not illegal to belong to any political party. There's a number of councillors that are already members of a different political party. They don't go and stand up and say that publicly. I've got nothing to hide. I will judge things as they come in front of me. What is good for the community, I will support it. What is not good for the community, I will not support it. I'm black and white. That's probably why I'm a Collingwood supporter, Gargan.
Me too. Okay, if we talk about multiculturalism, because there are a lot of people saying that they want diversity in these elections this time because of multiculturalism in Australia growing so far. So what about you? Because what about your thoughts in that, in multiculturalism? And what do you think, how you see that?
Well, this area around here, and especially it comes under the seat of Latrobe with Jason Wood, it's probably the one of the most multicultural areas in Australia. We have every different type of religion in here. We have diversity with all sorts of cultures. And since I've been involved with Jason, I've got to meet many, many different multicultural people. And I've made many friends with those people, and those people support me. We can learn a lot from them, and they can learn a lot from us. It's all about diversity. It's all about getting on with people. My theory in life is that 97% of people are good people, no matter who you are, where you come from. It's always the 3% that cause the problem for the rest of us. And that's a shame, but that's just life. That's just the world over. But I've met some wonderful people in the multicultural communities, and I've made some very good friends, and friends that I would call friends for life. I love to try diversity and understand people, because you know what? It enriches your life. And if we all do that and get to know people, what a better place to live. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all creation of God. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. We are human beings. As I said, 97% of people are fantastic. You always get that 3% that want to cause you problems. We've got to try and change that to make it 100%. That's how I look at it.
That's really great, Andrew. And you already have mentioned number of issues which you want to bring in, council if you win. But what will be your first priority if you really want to change Cardinia?
Well, first of all, I'll be looking at some of the projects that just aren't happening, especially in the ward that I'm running at O'Neill Road. That's a terrible intersection. Now, they've had funding for that since last year. It was approved. Jason Wood got that money. Here we are, October the 4th, still nothing happened. You listen to people down in Beaconsfield about that. They want to know why it hasn't been delivered. Well, what's the hold up? What's the red tape? This is what I'm saying. The waste and red tape and the roadblocks, that's just one thing. But there's another thing that worries me too, the officer centre down here, which has sat here for nearly 8 years. Where the civic centre is, it's like a pimple on a pumpkin. I mean, we need to get this area developed to get it growing. Why has it taken so long? I mean, you have to ask the questions. And, some of the councillors, okay, they all want to get re-elected. I understand that. But you know what? At the end of the day, why aren't they out there screaming, yelling and beating the drums like I am about projects that haven't been delivered? That's what I want to know, because they should be standing up and screaming and yelling about things that aren't happening. I want things to happen. Basically, I really want to stick a fire under everybody and get things going. And sometimes, Gargan, sometimes you have to create controversy in this world to get noticed, to get things going. I've done it in the past and I've been successful. I'm not doing it to be spiteful. If you get out there and you are passionate about something and you believe in something, you get people to take notice. That's what I did with the officer poker machines. That's what I did with the traffic lights up here at the intersection of Tivendale Road. I was very passionate about it. And guess what? We got results from that. So for the people to say that I've never got results, I challenge you, what have you done? I know what I've done and I know what I stand for. Maybe that upsets a few people because I am outspoken, but if you're not outspoken, you never get anything done. I'm not there to rip people apart. I'm there to make people accountable.
Once again, really great answer, Andrew. Just one more thing I wanted to ask, because you mentioned that you want transparency in council. That's your first answer.
Yes.
So if you want to continue on that, what kind of transparency you want in council? And you mentioned that about the rates and everything, where the money is going. Do you think that's possible to transparent everything? And how would you like to introduce that, the expenses to the people? What's your thoughts?
Well, for start, you need policies and procedures. There's been a bit of controversy about council expenses. I'm not going to go into that because that's being dealt with. But my question is, why did it get to that? Over the years, the system obviously doesn't work. So you need to look at procedures, put them in place and make sure they're watertight. We're talking about public money here. So everything should be ticked and double ticked. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our money. It should be spent wisely. If we have all this waste going on, that means that there's less money going out to the community for a number of things. I believe in lower rates. I'm not going to say I can lower them, but I believe in lowering lower rates, not high rate rises. All the Clean Up Cardinia people that are under that banner, they're all individuals. We have 3 multiculturals running with us in that group. We have women, we have men. They all come from different business, diverse backgrounds and different political alliances. But we're more interested in what we want to do in Cardinia. We all wrote to Ratepayers Victoria. They have all given us an endorsement, which they've given us that we can print on all our material, and they've given us 5 gold star logo. That's the first time it's ever happened, I believe, in Victoria. So what does that tell you? Because what we believe in, they're saying you're on the right path, we're going to give you endorsement. So I'm very pleased to say that we do have that endorsement from Ratepayers Victoria, because that just doesn't come lightly. You've got to prove yourself, and we all did.
Well done. Andrew, as you have already mentioned that you are already working for community, you are already working towards that. And once again, I just want to say very best wishes from my whole team to you. And I hope you will be successful in your goal and what you're doing for community as well.
Thank you very much, Gagan. And I can tell you what, I won't disappoint people, because if I'm elected, it will be a great honour, and you will hear from me. And I will be questioning a lot of things on council, because at the end of the day, this is a democracy, and what a great country we live in. And thank goodness we do have a democracy. So let's use the democracy for the good of the people, because at the end of the day, it is about the people. So all I'd like to say before I go is vote 1 Andrew McNabb.
Great. And to my viewers, if you have any questions for Andrew, please send us your questions on apnafriendschannel@gmail.com, or you can question directly to Andrew. If you will send us, we will definitely try our best to bring Andrew once again with us, and we will ask those questions directly to Andrew and bring those answers directly to you. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Andrew.
Have a lovely day.
You too. See ya.
Bye.
पंजाब तो दूर पंजाबियत दे नेड़े ब्रदर्स हवेली प्योर पंजाबी खाना प्योर पंजाबी स्वाद प्योर पंजाबी माहौल भावें वेज खाओ भावें नॉन वेज स्नैक्स तो लैके फुल मील सब कुछ अज ही पहुंचो ब्रदर्स हवेली 13 to 15 पल्टनी Dandenong BIC 3175 Melbourne ਜਾਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 613 9792 2777